Coming up next, the Lookening watches. Whatever. I'm not even going to let the music finish. Hey, it's a hilarious record needle scratch thing. Stopping the music. I don't even think that I want the music to play. I'm just depressed. Welcome to the Lookening, everybody. It's like the Bookening, only it's the Lookening. We watch great films. Like Murder on the Orient Express, Shadowlands, and now joining for a trifecta of triumphant... What's a T word?
Triumph.
Yeah, thanks, Brandon. Trifecta of triumphant triumph.
They don't deserve better than that.
It's Wrinkle in Time, filmed by the great Ava DuVernay,
I guess.
Guys, we're going to get right into it today. We're going to talk about this fine film. We went and saw it opening night. The theater was packed with, I'm going to say, about 10 people, 20 people.
Maybe
20,
including us.
We got to see the trailer for
it's a 9:45 showing.
Yeah,
Jake got out of a meeting. He missed the trailers. He didn't. I don't think you sat through Sherlock Gnomes.
I did not, but I have had to sit through that recently.
It's bad.
Anyway.
It's
terrible. Yeah.
Well, Brandon had the great comment that they're just making movies based on puns now.
Yeah.
Brandon's great comment that I enjoyed is he said, "What's next? Sherlock Bones, where he's a skeleton."
That was great stuff.
I thought we should recreate that for our listeners. In fact, let's recreate it.
Sherlock Phones. He's a
Sherlock Phones.
Verizon
Sherlock,
store.
Sherlock Cones. He works at an ice cream place.
Sherlock Tones.
He's a musician.
He's a musician.
Yeah, he's a musician. Synesthesia. What? Okay, we're gonna recreate this.
Yeah. Sherlock Drones.
Oh, you want to create everything? Yeah, sure. Sherlock Drones. That'd be good.
Hey, we'll just recreate the moment. Oh, I wonder if Jake's coming. Oh no, it's the Sherlock
Gnomes.
Oh, there's sure is a lot of stuff about butts. I feel really bad about kids watching this.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, there he is, Mankini.
Yeah, there's Mankini.
This is really perverse stuff.
Yeah,
Looks like they'll make any movie based on a pun now. Nathan.
Yeah. Well, interesting.
What's next? Sherlock Bones, where he's a skeleton?
Brandon, you are an amusing fellow. I'm glad we're seeing this movie together.
Me too, Nathan.
Hey, it's Jake. He missed the Sherlock Gnomes trailer.
Yep.
Nah, but I did get there just in time for the coming out trailer.
Oh, good grief.
I actually don't remember that trailer.
What?
I think maybe I was distracted or looking at my phone or something. I've heard more than one person say we saw a trailer about someone coming out. Who did it star?
I don't remember.
There's some kid who's in high school. It was like...
Jennifer Garner.
Jennifer Garner was in it. And he was like, I'm a normal high school student, except... I'm gay.
You know what? Yeah. I missed the beginning of the trailer, and I thought, this is going to be the weirdest, dumbest thing to confess in the world. I thought he was dead. I thought the premise of the movie was that he was a ghost.
Oh.
Whoa. That's
that other movie, Ghost.
I was
Sixth Sense?
I was like, this sure looks like a metaphor for coming out of the closet, but I guess he's a ghost that acts exactly like a normal person. What a weird premise. It would have been a long day, guys.
No, he's gay.
You're special just the way you is very clearly, inspirational.
It's going to be sentimental and bad.
Well, I don't believe there's like a Hollywood Illuminati that's working to corrupt I always hate it when Christians talk like that because it's just like, who needs an Illuminati to corrupt our culture? We can corrupt our culture without some conspiracy, But when I see things, especially like Sherlock Gnomes...
It's really about... so much of it is just about acclimating kids to...
normalizing it.
It just feels like... There's an agenda.
It's grooming.
Yeah,
it's grooming.
Yeah. I mean, and listen, folks, if you're listening and you think I'm a conspiracy theory, I don't like hearing Christians say the Hollywood conspiracy. I think that stuff's mostly pretty silly, but it's just hard to see. We saw like 2 or 3 trailers that all had the same like butt jokes, and they're all aimed at little kids. And ugh.
I mean, you took Alyssa there and to see the movie, and I just sat there thinking, man, it's awful.
Yeah.
That she was
man, Brandon's a bad parent.
No, I just sat there thinking Alyssa has to be subjected to this crap.
To these trailers
to get to this movie. And this is so that in itself was bad enough for me. Like I had thought I would take a kid to the movie too, except I didn't have an opportunity to.
Right.
Because I was coming from a meeting. But I was just glad that they weren't there to see the trailers.
The trailers were bad. And I had that experience most Well, Return of the
Last Jedi.
Last Jedi.
Same
whatever
thing,
that
yeah.
was. Those trailers were bad in front
They
of
were
that
bad too, yeah.
It was fine that Alyssa was at the movie, but it sucked that.
It was fun going out with Alyssa.
Yeah, it's nice to have her.
But
And
I messed it up because I came out strong against the movie, and I knew I shouldn't do this, but I was so filled with passion about hatred of Wrinkle in Time that I expressed it. I wanted to get Alyssa's opinion before I peer pressured her by being a cool adult, which obviously I am a pretty cool adult,
the coolest.
Before we all were like, "Oh, this movie sucks," and then of course she's gonna have to say it's terrible.
But in the van, she told me that she kind of liked it.
She kind of liked it,
but she realized it was bad.
She knew it was bad. She's got a head on her shoulders.
Yeah, she could tell it was bad.
If I may, there's a neck in between that head and
There's
the
a
shoulders.
Neck. It's a long neck.
Anyway, guys, I guess we should talk about this Wrinkle in Time movie, and that's what we're here to do. Let's do some donor shout-outs first, though, eh?
Yeah.
We need a gimmick. What's the gimmick for today?
We're depressed.
Yeah, let's do the most depressed
Womp womp.
donor shout-outs. Andrew and Nestor, the lovebirds, shout them out. Brandon,
Andrew and Esther, the lovebirds.
the inscrutable Jenny Z,
The inscrutable Jenny Z.
Robert and Rhonda, the together anyway birds.
Robert and Rhonda, the lovebirds.
John and Jill
John
and little
and Jill.
baby Max,
And poor little baby Max.
doomed to live in a world full of crummy children's films. My mother Beth, the accursed womb that brought me into this this world.
Nathan's mother Beth, who brought him into this world.
Meh.
Meh.
Jay and Katie, cold cheese perhaps distracts them from their pain sometimes.
Existential misery.
Yeah.
The cheese might have mold on it. Jay and Katie, you're cold. It's cold. The world's cold.
Yeah.
I hope the cheese does some distracting from the it that surrounds you.
Benjamin Tiberius.
Benjamin and Dana Tiberius.
Nathan. Not me.
Nathan, not him.
Best thing you got going for you right now.
Yep.
The
Yeah.
not him part.
Yep.
Yeah, you didn't have to see this movie
Yep.
unless for some reason you went to see it.
You probably did, knowing you. But you don't have to. You don't have to see everything, man.
Don't do it.
You can just not see things. You don't have to, like, one day you'll be old and no one will care what you've seen. And then one day you'll die and you'll stand before the judgment seat and no one will care what you've seen. I'm just saying. He's going to watch everything anyway, though. Eric and Catherine, the lovebirds.
Eric and Catherine, the lovebirds.
Dr. X.
Professor
physician.
X.
Professor X.
Professor X.
Well, if anybody else wants to join this exciting list of donors, what you do is you go to the place where you distract yourself from your misery, the internet.
Yep.
Plug in, put on your little headset, Ready Player One. Go to patreon.com/the Bookening. Sign up. Give us some of your money. Can't take it with you anyway. I don't care too much for money.
Nope.
Money can't buy me love.
You know what I love to do?
What?
I love to talk about crappy movies with you guys. Huh. So let's do it. Wrinkle in Time. We watched this movie. We went to the theater. We paid our money. We sat down. There was a screen. They projected the movie on it. We watched the movie. We took it in. However much, I think it was under 2 hours. Felt like about 5.
It felt long.
It felt long.
Yep.
And we didn't like it. And I just want to be very clear about this. I went in with an open mind into this movie. I really did.
Yeah.
Didn't care for the book.
too.
I think we've gone on record as not caring for this book. I thought the movie looked colorful. I thought it looked fun. I didn't mind them kind of updating it. Obviously, I felt no particular fidelity to the book, so do what you want with it. Just make it colorful, make it fun, let it be a Disney movie. And
It wasn't.
I read some positive reviews. There aren't many, but I read some positive reviews so that I could know what to look for,
It was good.
where to look for the good in the movie.
Okay.
So I came prepared based on A.O. Scott's review in the New York Times to take it simply as a kid's movie and nothing else, and to appreciate the fact that they don't do any winks and nods at adults, but it's just for the kids. Maybe the reason that it came out of the gate with a 40% score on Rotten Tomatoes is because people wanted more from it than it was trying to give.
Huh? Is that what he said?
Well, he did. He didn't say. I mean,
He didn't put it like that.
he didn't put it like that, but he did say it was clearly and unapologetically a kids movie that had no winks and nods for adults, and he loved that about it. He also loved the book, and he told a story about his second grade teacher not being able to finish the book when she read it to class because she was crying, and
oh boy,
so it was a sentimental sort of thing.
A.O. Scott, is that what you think, A.O. Scott? I think that. Well, can I speak to that real fast?
Yes, absolutely.
I think a lot of people think that for a kids movie to be for adults, it has to have clever winks and nods.
No.
That's the sentiment that we have nowadays. So we came from Shrek and all these movies like that have winks and nods to adults. Mm-hmm. But a kid's story can be well told, and then it's also for adults.
Yeah.
It just has to hit the right themes.
Yeah. So we're about to talk about a book that does that exact thing, Charlotte's Web.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
I'm enjoying it.
I wish we would have talked about Charlotte's Web before Wrinkle in Time, because then we would have it would have been nice instead of just beating up on something to be able to point to the gold standard. But man, Charlotte's Web rocks. If you just, to be fair, next week we're starting Ready Player One, and out of the gate you're going to hear us sound a little bit cynical about it. But in fact, there are people, more than one person in this room that likes Ready Player One. There's one person in this room that's not a big Ready Player One fan at all.
That's right.
But
True.
You can spend one person in this room who's right.
You can spend the week trying to figure out who's who and what's what. But okay, I don't know. Let's see. What's the best way to talk about this movie? Was it a good adaptation of Madeline L. Ingalls, A Wrinkle in Time? Perhaps that's an interesting question to start with. Jake, your thoughts?
That's an interesting question for a lot of reasons. The more good and faithful adaptation of the book it is, the less it has going for it, in my opinion.
I want to say, well, I don't know. Yeah, maybe. But perhaps there's a way to adapt that book, cover the nakedness of the book. I'm going
yes,
to
I think
argue
there probably
for this
is.
at least. That there's a way to take what's good about the book, improve upon what's bad, and make an adaptation that captures the things that people rightly or wrongly
that really
like about the
resonate
book,
with them,
that resonate.
Yeah.
And make a good movie.
I think there's a good Wrinkle in Time movie out there.
Yes.
This wasn't it. And that's too bad, I guess. Maybe it's not too bad because maybe fewer people will go and read that stupid book now.
Yeah.
Was
So
it a
maybe
good
thing?
By what standard are we judging whether or not it's a good adaptation?
I don't know.
Do you mean, is it a faithful adaptation? Is that your question?
It's not a faithful adaptation.
Does it capture, like,
It changes quite a bit.
if you liked the book,
Yeah.
would you feel that movie had taken its essence and put it on the screen in a way that you could
I would feel
appreciate?
that it had tried one way or another.
I mean, the changes it makes aren't enough to alter the story.
No,
like the
I mean,
main themes that it's trying to get across.
yeah, I mean, you can only do so much in an hour and
They changed
40
quite a bit
minutes
on
or however long
the
it
planet
is.
Camazot.
Yes, and those changes were all really weird.
yeah.
So where the Camazots was just basically unreal.
Right.
But that's not the way it was in the book, right? In the
No,
book, it was
Camazotz was
it was a real city, and they had
the dark. It was like the ruler of Camazotz, and it was its own special little planet that was under the influence of the darkness, and the darkness was everywhere in the book. And what they did was they made Camazotz the heart of it, which is the darkness. And so then it was just this unreal place instead of a place where there were real people that were.
Yeah. So it was all just like being on the holodeck from Star Trek.
Yep.
I felt like if I was a Madeline L. Ingalls fan, because I remember reading that book as a kid. I don't know if I emphasized enough in our book episode how much I actually did like that book when I was a kid. Because I did like it. It was cool, and it felt dark and strange and interesting and scary.
I liked it too.
Compelling. The movie did not capture that feeling. Like the book, like it or lump it, and Brandon lumped it. It was a dark and stormy night. Brandon, not a fan of that.
No, not at all.
But the book has a certain sense of forward momentum, danger, and foreboding, and ominous, and there's something at stake from the very beginning. And the movie just did not capture that at all. It felt like Ava, forgive me, how do you say her last name again?
DuVernay, I think.
DuVernay. She was I don't know, either inept or just profoundly uninterested, not disinterested, but uninterested in making a movie where you felt like what was at stake was that you didn't. I'm trying to put my finger on why the movie felt so inert. You never felt like anything was at stake.
Yeah.
Like her dad was gone and this dark thing, but you never really felt like the whole book. you don't have to like it, but it is at least successful in making you feel like
propels you
they're
forward.
going on an adventure. There's a mission, a quest for Kevazats. One might even say.
That maybe the best thing about the book is that it actually does propel you forward.
Right. And the movie just felt like, well, we're here and we're going on a thing for some reason.
It was just all about everything going on inside of Meg.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what the movie is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the book, from the very first chapter, it's the dark and stormy night.
Yes.
But then they go down and they make sandwiches, and it's still storming outside, and then you have the lady come into the house.
And
Right?
she's kind of spooky.
And that's all in the first chapter.
Yeah.
And so it jumps you right into the story. This one, instead, has to try and set up everything with the school and the bullies, and it basically becomes about how they're different, but really unique.
Right.
And their uniqueness is good. And so that's what the movie's trying to pull out. And so there's
And
not
all
the
that's
sense of
there
danger.
in the book.
It's there, but the danger is also there from the beginning in the book. And it's not until I don't even know if you realize there's a villain until you finally see the cloud or the dark.
Yeah, it almost felt like the bad way of making this movie better. Like, and I'm almost surprised they didn't do this, but just tack on a prologue where we hear Kate Blanchett narrating, and she says, "Once upon a time, there was a big, dark, scary thing that spread across the universe." Like, immediately tell us there's something at stake. This is like an adventure. Here's the stakes. Here's the evil. Here's why it's evil. Let's see that dark thing absorb a planet and see people screaming and cities falling or something. These are all terrible ideas, you understand, but that's the cheap, easy way of doing what some screenwriter should have done the work of, which is to make us feel like something's really at stake. So that as soon as her dad goes missing, which we know about within the first 2 or 3 minutes of the movie, just like we do in the book, we realize, like, even if we don't have it all figured out, we know that there's a bad guy out there. We know that, something's at stake here.
Well, yeah, what the book is about and what the movie is about, the not really that far off. Turns out Meg is actually kind of awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And her superpower is that she, for all her faults, she loves.
Right.
And she loves hard and she loves well. Then she can accept herself and save the day through love.
Right.
Lookening actually does a creditable job of showing you that.
Yes. The book
compared to the movie, which is just trying to tell you that over and over and over and over.
I think
and
maybe
over
you
again.
just helped me put my finger on what the movie's problem was. The movie doesn't actually believe or show us that Meg has any faults whatsoever.
Right. Yeah.
She seems like a very well put together, and the actress is
She's
great, by
really
the way.
pretty.
She's fantastic. She's pretty. She's smart. When she lashes out at the bully has been so cartoonishly mean that it feels completely
it's entirely
justified.
And then she goes into the principal's office, and you don't feel like Meg should be there.
Yeah.
And then when she gets up and walks out, you feel like that was probably the right thing to do because
Right,
the principal's such an inept bully.
He's being abusive, like he should be reported, and what principal would...
So then one of the major themes of the movie is Mrs. Hullabaloo, whatever her name
Yes,
is.
Mrs. Hullabaloo.
Not liking Meg for some reason.
Yeah.
But you don't understand why, so it just makes that particular character seem
Right.
foolish and cartoonish.
If the movie Meg needed to have greasy hair and feel like an outcast.
She needed to have some pimples or something like that.
And
she needed to actually be awkward, like the Meg in the book is actually awkward. She needs to look and feel actually dumb instead of just be so... I mean... Meg in the book, she's just so sophisticated that she doesn't get the simple stuff.
Right.
Yeah. And Charles Wallace is the same.
And Charles Wallace is the same. Their minds don't work the same way, and it's hard for them to be.
But in the movie, you don't understand why nobody likes them.
Yeah, when
Charles
they're
Wallace,
completely likable.
When Calvin decides to fall in love or join up with Meg in the movie, it's just like, of course he does. He's a red-blooded male. She's a pretty girl. She's smart. She's like, what high school boy wouldn't be completely into this girl? It doesn't ever feel like Calvin's weird or interesting because he sees past.
Yeah, he doesn't see past
Then
anything.
you have that awful scene where the teachers are talking behind Charles Wallace.
Yes, and they're just like exposition about...
Yeah, it's really bad.
It's poorly written for one thing.
And the actors can't do anything with it.
Yeah.
And then Charles Wallace is sitting right there, and you have no clue why anybody thinks this about him.
Right.
He just seems like a normal kid just sitting there drawing. He's the awkward one who doesn't want to play with Jim, but there's plenty of kids like that.
But he's drawing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but he's
big
drawing.
deal.
So
He likes to color.
What's strange about him?
Yeah, they didn't.
So-
So we had a little bit of an
At
argument.
least the book. There's a reason to hate Charles Wallace.
Right.
And we're all on board with everybody who doesn't like Charles Wallace.
This Charles Wallace, I thought the kid, who knows whether the kid's a good or a bad actor. All I know is that they didn't spend the time to get the right footage of the kid to trick him into, or whatever it is one does to get a good performance out of a kid. They didn't do that with this kid. So we got a lot of him just being cute and then him being petulant once he's the bad guy. But he's a likable kid.
Yeah.
But like you don't. We didn't have any harsh feelings towards Charles Wallace like we did in the book.
No. I mean, I think.
But you also didn't feel like anything was at stake with Charles Wallace. You didn't understand what it was that it saw in Charles Wallace that it could exploit. Like the kid didn't seem particularly proud or preternaturally.
No, exactly. That was a big failure of the movie. Is there was no reason for Charles Wallace. It made no sense.
Yeah.
Unless you read the book,
Wallace.
you would not know. You would just think, oh, Charles Wallace ate the food first. I guess he got seduced because
he had been warned about something, right? He had been warned not to do something, and then he failed to do that, and that's why.
In the book or in the
book.
In the book, yeah, it was
when he counts off with the
Charles
bad guy.
Wallace decides that the only way to find Dad is to enter into the it, and that he thinks that he's strong enough and powerful enough to do it. Meg and Calvin are like, no, the missus said, don't leave us, don't give in. He's like, no, I can do it. And it's his pride that gets him sucked in.
Right. The movie didn't believe that he was proud or that. I really think the problem with the movie maybe is just simply that the director or the writer or the producer
didn't
or
want
whoever,
the kids to have any faults.
they didn't believe in the faults. Like Madeline L'Engle, for all her cheesiness, has some conception of sinfulness and redemption. And this movie had none of it. Like the kids were just beautiful, broken from the beginning and not even really all that broken, just kind of beautiful. And so you spend like an inordinate amount of the time with the movie is like the three misses telling Meg like words of affirmation. And it's like, what are they affirming? She already seems fine. Like this girl doesn't need to be told to be a warrior. She started out as a warrior. Like,
well, she doesn't believe in herself.
But the movie never shows us really not. The girl, the actress isn't playing a character that doesn't believe in herself. She's just
she plays a character who says she doesn't believe in herself.
Right.
But wow. This movie is actually making the book look better.
Yeah,
it is.
It really is.
In fact, the more we talk about it, the better the book looks.
It's not making me sad for some reason.
Well, Madeline L'Engle,
I think I've just lost all hope in the world.
Madeline L'Engle, we may not agree with what she did. We may not like where she was as a human being when she wrote that book, but she wrote a novel that hangs together and makes sense in its own dumb little way.
Yes.
The movie, I don't think achieves that. The movie's just kind of spastic and senseless.
It's very
you put your finger on
spastic.
it. The movie doesn't hold together as any sort of artwork.
Yes.
It's not crafted well at all. As much as I hate to say it, at least the book is crafted well. It fits with its own logic.
Yeah,
even though I hated that logic, even though that logic really made me mad, and even though I do think that Charles Wallace is the worst character ever written,
Yeah, he's horrible.
it still fits together.
Yes. There was one narrative problem in the book that I remember, which is why doesn't everybody freak out when they let Mrs. Mrs. Hullabaloo into the house at the beginning? Yeah. Why is everyone okay with that? And the movie had the exact same scene with the exact same. They kind of tried to solve it, I guess, by having Meg say, you shouldn't just let strangers into the house. But Mom was still like seriously not freaking out like she should have been about some weird witch lady just being standing in her living room in the middle of the night.
They tried to have her freak out a little bit, but in the book, she just goes.
Meg's going to call the cops, and Mom's just trying to find a polite way to get her out of the house, but there's no freak out.
Well, speaking of Mom...
Well, I was going to say one last thing about the whole...
Yes.
See, at least the book was trying to do something, and so therefore we had to take it seriously, and then made me mad.
Yes.
Because what it was doing was bad and all that.
Mm-hmm.
The movie, I don't even feel like it was trying to do anything worth taking seriously. I just feel like it was bad.
Yeah,
so.
Pretty much. Let's talk about what was good about the movie, because you said the mom, and that reminded me. Mom was good.
Mom was good. Chris Pine is... I mean,
he doesn't have anything to do except exposition and then
and give emotional depth to a really flat story.
Mm-hmm.
If there's anything that does hold the various scattered parts together, it's
him for sure.
Him.
Yeah. They do flashbacks where he's with the mom and they're in love and they're working on their science and that all works.
He
it
really
feels real. The chemistry's
is a really
there.
credible. He really loves his wife and his kids. He's a good. A good husband. He's a good dad. He's a good scientist. He's a believer. He's a little bit of ahead of things. Like is a little too excited about his work.
He's the only one that feels crazy. Like the whole Wallace or Murray whatever they're called, family. They all felt like that in the book. They're all way too smart for their own good and don't quite get social. Chris Pine's the only one that actually feels like that.
And Mom's sensible, and Mom has I think a really great line. There's one good line in the movie, and it's he goes off the rails at some talk for NASA or something like that,
trying to sell them on the idea.
Trying to sell them on this great big idea. Mom is like, dude, nobody was ready for that. And he's like, when are they ever going to be ready for it? We're right. And she says, if you want to be great, it's not enough to be right. You have to actually be great.
That was a
And
good
that
line.
means bringing people along.
Right.
You know, and that was a good line.
Yeah.
It's not enough to be right. You
Yeah.
have to actually be great. That was a good line. I
Yeah.
like that.
It
But
felt
all
like-
of those scenes, they had real chemistry. Mom was good. Dad was good. The scenes between Chris Pine and Meg, those setup scenes were really sweet. He really interested in her, really excited about geeking out with science with her and stuff like that. You know, really believe that he's a good husband and
So much so
Father.
that when he has to follow the outline of the book at the end and not solve the problem for Meg, you don't really buy it. You're like, Chris Pine's a great dad. Like he should
he
be
wouldn't
able
do
to.
that.
He's gonna be the,
He should be able to save the day here. He shouldn't be wimping out or whatever. I mean, Chris Pine again even sells the wimp out pretty well and makes you not hate him because Chris Pine's just
But it still feels.
I already liked him as an actor, but
Yeah.
I liked him more as an actor for the performance that he gave in this really terrible movie.
I hope somebody sees him in this role and has their own good script with a dad character that they want, and they're like, oh, we should get Chris Pine. 'Cause I'd love to see him
move from being Captain Kirk or you know some of the other roles that he's played to being a loving husband and father was really nice.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah. You could do Charles Wallace. Not Charles Wallace.
Yeah, you could play
Yeah,
Charles
not
Wallace.
From Something Wicked This Way Comes.
Yeah,
The dad.
he'd be great as that dad. Actually,
Yeah.
I never would have thought
That's
to
kind of
cast
the dad he
Chris
was kind of
Pine,
trying to
but
play.
yeah, he actually could. Maybe give him a couple years, he could play that
And
dad
actually,
pretty well.
that's kind of what we were wanting from that dad, is for him to be the hero at the end.
Yes.
Because he was playing it that way. Actually, the movie had me hopeful from the first scene because it was him and his daughter.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, they actually might handle this.
yeah,
in a
I was
way-
hopeful for the first. I was hopeful until Reese Witherspoon showed up.
That's right. And then I was like, oh my goodness.
Well, I really think Ava DuVernay, I mean, I always say don't read motivations back into these people, who knows? But it seemed, just based on watching the movie, what it felt like was that she did not care about the book at all. The place where her heart was with the family. Like, she would have been happy to make a movie about weird mom and dad and picked on kids, and like that was the movie she wanted to make. And I think she maybe accepted the assignment and thought, well, I can do the studio thing, but I'm going to try and sneak my interest in. But in this case, it really felt like it never meshed, and it really felt like she was uninterested in the other stuff.
And so she just threw a bunch of CGI and colors at it.
Right, had her second unit shoot some cool stuff, had the CGI people do some stuff, but
And so then it just had the amount of interest she had in it.
yeah,
It's really bad stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. It goes off the rails as soon as the misses show up.
yeah.
And I mean, poor Reese Witherspoon.
Poor all three
poor
of them.
all. Yeah,
I
don't feel bad for Oprah.
right.
Who does?
I do a little bit because she's going to run for president in a couple of years, and people are going to pull up memes of her as a giantess with a big metal Mad Max looking dress thing. This was like embarrassing. I didn't like watching it. I felt uncomfortable for those actresses, for the three misses. Like, oh no, they have to wear these dumb Battlefield Earth looking costumes and say these ridiculous lines that no one could say. And they're really obviously trying really hard, and they obviously probably love the book, probably thought, oh, this is an interesting director, probably signed on with their hearts in the right place. Like, let's make something that'll really connect with kids and with people, and it'll help people and affirm people, and gave their trust.
Got sold out.
They just looked like idiots. I mean, there's a part where it's hard to describe, but where the special effects kids, Oprah's giant, and they go by her and they brush her cheek, and Oprah has to laugh a little bit, and
it looks like bad CGI.
It was like a bad TV movie. Like, you're just embarrassed for Oprah. Poor Mindy Kaling is a great comedic. Everybody. She was great on The Office and everything. She's straitjacketed. She plays the dumb missus that has to say the quotes all the time, which they weirdly give up on halfway through, like as a mark of character development. She's invested enough now. She doesn't have to use Bartlett's famous quotations anymore.
No, she was weakened
Sure.
by being on the dark planet.
Okay. She's weakened enough now. She doesn't
use quotes anymore.
She doesn't use quotes anymore. Either way, Mindy Kaling's completely straitjacketed. She doesn't get to do anything fun or be interesting in the way that Mindy Kaling can. Oh, poor Zach Galifianakis. There's a scene where they go and see Zach Galifianakis. It's supposed to be funny, and there's nothing more painful than watching
a bad joke.
Well, serious actors try and play like a comedic scene, and for it to fall flat and nobody in the audience to laugh. And I know Zach Galifianakis wasn't actually there to hear us not laugh, but I was just embarrassed. All the actors, like everybody in the scene, this is Oprah and Reese Witherspoon, all these like Academy Award winners, they're all standing on one foot and saying mumbo jumbo, and it's supposed to be whimsical and fun, and Oh,
It's just bad.
It's just bad.
Because it's confused. It doesn't know what it wants to be either, because then it tries to get very serious.
And Meg gives Zach Galifianakis a hug like they really
and it's
bonded.
supposed to mean something.
It's supposed to mean something.
Which is hollow. Yeah.
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 It's bad. It's bad stuff.
Yep. Thanks for listening, everybody. I don't know what else to say about it.
They should have spared Reese Witherspoon and cast a chick from Sex and the City in her place.
Sarah Jessica Parker.
Sarah Jessica Parker, yeah.
Any one of the Sex and the City chicks, really.
What they should have done is actually taken the witches from Hocus Pocus.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, that's what we're all thinking of anyways.
Yeah, exactly.
Meryl Streep.
I thought that all three of the misses, I thought, gave it their all, and I like them as actors. I mean, even Oprah, she can play a dignified Oprah type character. She can do that.
which she's proved recently.
Yeah.
She's played that character a couple times publicly now.
Yeah, exactly. And she does it, but man, I didn't feel like the actresses did a bad job. I just felt like they were sold out by whoever's ultimately responsible for this thing. It's hard for me to think that Ava DuVernay
Isn't responsible.
Well, I don't know. What I said before we started recording, and I feel a little dicey about saying this, but it just kind of felt to me like the movie was so dramatically lifeless. There was still so little at stake. There were just story problems in the movie that Disney movies usually have higher quality control on. And I just had to wonder why she wasn't replaced with Ron Howard at some point. You know what I mean? Like Disney's been famous for with Marvel
Unapologetically,
and Disney. Unapologetic. Like we are a machine. We are
if you don't meet the standards, you're gone.
If you can't be part of our assembly line that puts out a quality product, you can put your own magical touch in there. You can bring the things you like to it. But if it's not meeting our quality standards of a particular type, then you're gone. And I just wondered whether, because this was a black woman, they couldn't, because think about it, if they had replaced her, they would have had a nightmare on their hands. Yeah. People would have gone nuts.
They would have had
been an uproar.
There would have been a riot. I mean, Twitter would have, it's all people would have been talking about for days and days and days.
So but nobody cared about the two Lego movie guys.
Yeah, two white
Han Solo
Lego guys.
Well, it was Patty Jenkins was the first woman to have a $100 million budget, and Ava DuVernay was the second woman to have a $100 million budget.
And the first
woman of color to have a $100 million budget. And they made a big show of that. They really waved the flag about that. And so they backed themselves into a corner with it.
And now it's going to flop, I think.
It's a total flop. It's 40% on Rotten Tomatoes. There was nobody at the theater last night.
It was opening night that we saw it.
And it was, it's a big budget film.
But at least Disney gets to make their political statement.
Mm-hmm. To be fair to our theater attendants, the movie was not aimed at people that generally are able to see movies at 9:45 on a Thursday night. So
so we'll see what it does this weekend. We'll see what Saturday looks like. I'm sure it'll be packed out on Saturday.
They'll have an okay weekend. Disney's able to buy themselves a good weekend, but it's not going to have good word of mouth. It's not going to have legs, I wouldn't think.
I was telling you I went to Barnes & Noble when I had to buy this book, and I had another book in my hand. I think it was
The Great Dennis Johnson.
Johnson. But anyway, so I had to ask somebody where these books were because I couldn't find it, where The Wrinkle in Time. And so he took me to this section, which was young adult novels. And he was telling me, because he saw the other book, he's like, it's amazing how many college students and like people in their 20s, they'll come into Barnes & Noble and they'll just do all their shopping from the young adult section. He said it depresses him because he used to be an English teacher. He said, now everybody who's our age, they go and they want to buy young adult novels. He's like, and he says it makes him sad, makes him depressed.
Right.
Because that's what people are reading. All that to say, I do think part of the audience, because I know someone, I won't name names, but I do know someone who was very excited about this movie. This person is in their mid-20s. So I do think it does have a certain audience that is older than just children.
I mean, I don't know. When I was in my 20s or whatever, I was excited about the Narnia movies.
Yes.
Yep.
Until I saw the first one.
That did put a damper on.
But my only point in saying that is there's such a thing as a beloved children's book that you're happy to go back and see made a movie.
Yeah, I was excited about the Charlotte's Web movie. Same experience with it.
Yeah.
We're going to have to watch that?
I watched the old cartoon. The old cartoon was pretty good.
Yeah, I remember loving the old cartoon as a kid.
I didn't even remember that there was a new Charlotte's Web movie.
It was bad.
It's with, who plays Charlotte?
Dakota Fanning or somebody.
Dakota Fanning plays whatever the little girl's name is. I think that was when Dakota Fanning still was actually a little girl.
Yeah, I forget who plays Charlotte.
Fern. I was thinking the same. I was stuck the same place you were. Fanny.
Fern. Well, I had Mansfield Park.
Yeah,
Fern.
Fanny. But what else to say about this movie? I almost want people don't go see this movie. Don't spend any money on it. But
don't waste your time.
If you're interested in seeing it, what I think you'll see is a movie that's weirdly bad. Like, I thought it was fascinating how lifeless this movie was. There was just no tension in it, no drama, no action scenes. Like,
it's incredibly sentimental.
Yeah.
like I'd say, yeah.
Here's the thing that I would say, don't make the mistake that a lot of people make, which is I teared up at multiple points in the movie because I can't help myself from entering into even the most the schlockiest of sentimental schlock, but I still hated the movie. It was still a terrible movie.
Yeah.
And what you can't do is make the mistake of thinking if you feel a little moved at any point in time that means the movie's good. It's not.
Well, I'm the kind of person that'll tear up at a Coke commercial. Inevitably, every Super Bowl, there'll be some commercial about, oh, the immigrant came, and, there'll be something like that, one of those tear jerkers, and they'll get me. This movie did that. I mean, there were parts where I teared up a little bit just because I'm a sap like you are, Jake. But I was surprised by how many times it didn't, and it should have. Like, I was just like, if this had been handled it could have been devastating. Better, it could have been devastating.
Yeah.
When Chris Pine reunites with his daughter, spoilers for anyone that's living under a rock or doesn't know how stories work or hasn't read Wrinkle of Time. Okay, I'm a little misty, but it would be so easy to just kill me with this scene.
Yeah.
And you didn't.
Yep.
Because nothing's at stake, nothing matters. And man, I thought it was a weirdly bad movie. I'm surprised they let it out without major reshoots, there's no action. Like, even the kind of cheap exploitative thrills that you would think that a producer, a cigar chomping evil Harvey Weinstein producer would just say, well, your movie has to have, you can do whatever you want, but your movie has to have such and such amount of special effects, action, whatever. The movie didn't even have those things. It didn't have
they tried with the Camazot's changes.
Yeah, but like the first sort of exciting scene where they're running for something doesn't happen until, I don't know, maybe 2/3 of the way through. Before that, it's just people talking, and there's this really goofy scene where Calvin falls off the leaf unicorn lady, and then they get some flowers to rescue him, and it's like you're suddenly watching something from Wizard of Oz, and it's just tonally a mess. I don't know. I think this movie will go down in history as a weird movie that people puzzle over what happened. Maybe we'll find out after a couple of years. Somebody will come clean. Maybe Ava DuVernay will eventually, her relationship with Disney will sour. Maybe the movie won't make any money. Her relationship with Disney will sour, and then she'll be able to be honest about
tell the whole story
about what happened, which I think would be infinitely more fascinating than
the story that was told.
The story that was told in the movie, because it was just like, I don't know how you. Like, we could make a better movie, and I'm not saying anything about us, but if we had all the same tools at our disposals, we would at least make sure that the movie had enough of the kind of things that we know people like a cynical, bean-counting Hollywood accountant type person could make this movie better by just being like, okay, it needs a little action. We need to make sure that the stakes are clear. We need to just really simple stuff that they didn't do. I'm not sure what happened.
Yep.
What's his face as the red guy? He did a fine job.
The red guy?
Yeah.
The guy with the red eyes, the puppet master or whatever.
I don't know. He's in like Ant-Man and
that guy.
Yeah, he was fun.
Yeah, he was fun.
There's this little, I will say one other good thing about the movie. There was a little chunk of it I liked, which was when they first got to Camazotz and things kind of picked up. When they go into the creepy town where everyone's conforming, that was fun, kind of captured a little bit about the book. Then they abandoned that idea and did some weird beach thing. But even the weird beach thing was kind of colorful and interesting. When I walked into the theater with my hopes up, I think I was hoping for that movie, like a movie with just a bunch of weird, colorful stuff in it. So if you watch the trailer and you're like me and you think, oh, maybe at least I'll get something colorful and weird and kind of off kilter, you won't. Not in an entertaining way, except for maybe for a little 10-minute chunk there towards the end.
Not enough to redeem it, though.
No, not enough to redeem it. And once they get to it and, the final showdown, I mean, they don't even make it clear that Meg is good at physics.
Yeah. It's hinted at.
Well, the way that they try to get that is the most incredible. She says something about velocity, right? Like what she's measured the wind speeds and of this
and it's
tornado on this strange planet, and she's going to be able to calculate which tree stump to hide in, and it's going to. It
was dumb.
It's basically
absurd. You don't even.
It's the nuke the fridge scene from Indiana Jones,
Skull.
where he jumps into the fridge and it shields him from the thing and it goes bouncing, and instead of his skull being turned to pulp, he's fine. They do that exact scene. Which, as far as things you can rip off from Indiana Jones, I can think of about 10,000 other things they should have ripped off from Indiana Jones instead of that.
Yeah, that's right. We should have.
even gophers, CGI gophers, or Shia LaBeouf swinging with monkeys behind him. That would have really improved this movie.
Army ants
Shia
eating
LaBeouf
everybody.
Yeah, army ants.
Just eating everybody, and then that's it. It's the only scene you get.
Shia LaBeouf should have been in this movie. He should have played Calvin. He should have played both Calvin and Mr. It should have just Shia LaBeouf should have just played every male character in this movie. I think it would have been drastically improved.
Fantastic.
So
Yeah, the movie had the budget and it had the talent in the actors.
Yep, it's all the fault of the director or the producer.
Or somebody. It's either some part of the machine or it's DuVernay herself, one way or another.
I have no idea, but yeah, something happened. Weird movie. So what are the takeaways? Meg was good. That actress, whatever her name is, she deserves to go on to a long and lustrous career.
I wish. Yeah. She was great. I don't know that I've seen another DuVernay film.
I haven't seen Selma, which is her big one.
I've seen, we talked about, I guess that would have been for Sound of Sanity.
Yeah.
But we talked about Black Panther. Having seen Ryan Coogler's other films, I feel like I had a good grasp over what was Coogler and what was the Marvel machine.
Right.
Just don't know enough to say about.
I've never seen a DuVernay movie.
Yeah, it would be interesting. I don't know. It's hard for me. This is the kind of movie where it's hard for me to believe. I know I keep saying this in different ways, but studio should have interfered. Like studio interference, it feels like could only make this movie better because there's just
the kind of ways that studios tend to interfere. Yeah.
Give it some more action.
No, there's not enough action here. No, you need more. You need a CGI monster or something.
Yeah. There needs to be something really exciting.
Battle scene.
Yeah. First act needs a big stuff like that. Like the movie needed all those kinds of notes. Why wasn't there some evil, cynical producer ruining this movie? I really don't understand. Well, they tried.
I guess.
So, does
no
Lookening seal of approval?
No.
Nope.
The LSOA?
The only thing better about this movie than the book is that it only took an hour and 40 minutes to get through.
Yeah.
That's the only thing better.
I would argue that if you read the book, no one forces you to watch the Sherlock Gnomes trailer before the book.
That's true.
That's true. You could show up to the theater late, though.
Yes.
Like I did.
Just have a meeting like Jake did and slink into the movie after Sherlock Gnomes, and that's probably your best bet at a Wrinkle in Time experience that's innocuous.
Two best things about the movie. It's an hour and 40 minutes long instead of reading a whole book. You can really appreciate what Chris Pine can do with nothing.
Yes.
And
he's a good
the
actor.
depth to his acting skills, and the young actress, I don't know her name.
Me neither.
Who played Meg, she was great.
She was great.
And she's she should go on to have a great career.
I can't imagine she's not going to be
Already
a big
cast
star.
in about 5 other films.
Let her get a little bit older and she'll have her own superhero franchise, or at least be a superhero's girlfriend or something. I mean, she's just like...
She'd do whatever she wants.
Yeah.
If she plays her cards right, probably.
Yeah. And Chris Pine, people making good movies need to cast that guy.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
He's fantastic.
Have you guys seen Hell or High Water? I haven't.
Yeah.
I'd love to.
It's good.
I want to. I haven't. Tried to watch White Pines or whatever, this follow-up, Wind Talker, Wind River, and I only made it about 5 minutes in, and then I was like, this looks dumb. But maybe if I'd made it further, I would have liked it better. I don't know. Anything else to say about this film or The Wonderful World of Madeline L. Ingle before we move on to Ernest Cline?
Nope. Good riddance. I guess that's what I have to say.
Good riddance to bad relish.
Here.
Okay, here's a question I will add. Final question, and we'll be done. Warhorn Media had somebody write to them privately, was talking about, they were very nice and they actually liked our episode last week, but they said A Wrinkle in Time meant a lot to them for various reasons.
Yeah.
Should that person, the book, they said the book specifically had meant a lot, helped them and their kids through a messy situation, all this stuff. Should that person see A Wrinkle in Time? Somebody just likes Wrinkle in Time. Should they see the movie Wrinkle in Time?
I don't have any problem with somebody going to see the film. If the idea is that you want a foil for processing dad inexplicably disappears because he's drawn away by evil forces, and you need a way to process that, there are lots of better ways to do that than A Wrinkle in Time, but I don't begrudge you if that's what you stumbled upon or if that's what you had, and if you want to see the movie.
We should probably just watch The Iron Giant instead.
Yeah.
Or any number of children's movies where one or more parents have gone missing and we have to deal with that or aren't around for whatever reason. So, Yeah.
The Iron Giant. You
Iron
can watch
Giant.
that.
You could watch The Iron Giant. I think probably most people that I'm just going to take a wild guess. I think probably most people that like the book will be disappointed by the movie. The book feels compelling and kind of dark and cool and otherworldly, and the movie just feels like lame and boring and like a TV movie.
Well, and if part of the problem is that Dad failed and screwed up, first by disappearing and then by whatever, and Meg has to save the day, Chris Pine's too lovable to give you that.
Yeah. And if you want a movie to help you deal with, oh, you're an angry, angsty kid with a lot of faults, this movie actually doesn't do a good job of that. There are no angry, angsty kids with faults. There's only wonderful kids. It's a weird movie, folks. It's a weird movie. No LSOA, huh, Brandon?
No LSOA.
All right. Sorry, Wrinkle in Time. Better luck next time when you get remade in, 10, 20 years.
Never.
That's what they never do. They never do that. I always think they remake really popular movies that did well and that were done perfectly the first time. What they should do is they should be like,
they sell them short.
Yeah,
the remakes.
But instead they should be like, this movie sucked the first time. It had kind of a cool idea, but they didn't get it right. Let's remake that. But of course, that's not valuable IP, so why would they do that? Yeah. IP stands for intellectual property, if you're not someone that knows that. The Lookening today was written and produced. I wrote everything.
That's right.
Actually,
everything I said.
Yep.
I was just reading the script.
The character of Jake and Brandon, I think I really bring them to life today. You understood what they were and all that kind of thing. I dare say I'm the Madeline L. Ingle of my time. You felt Brandon's angsty anger at his dad and all that kind of stuff. No, Brandon loves his dad. Yeah, Nathan is my name. Jake's his name. Brandon's his name. We're the Bookening team, and happy we are to be it. You support us on the internet by going to @thebookening, finding that on your various social medias. You can look up Jake at Jacob Menzel, me at Nathan Alberson, at Not Famous Nathan, actually. And you can support us at patreon.com/thebookening if you'd like to give us money. If you don't want to give us money, but do also want to support us, then why don't you go to Apple or wherever you listen to your podcasts and write us a nice 5-star review, and which Brandon will now tell you exactly what to say in that review.
Will I?
Yeah.
The Bookening's the best. Listen.
That's all you need, folks. That's all you need. Thanks for listening, everybody. Next week, we'll be back with Brandon Chastain's favorite novel, Ready Player One. Are you ready, Player Brandon?
I kind of have to be.